Question for you. What would make you feel more awkward? Bringing a math and science kind of toy for a girl to her birthday, or gifting a doll, a proper doll, to a boy for his birthday? Hey, I'm Jess. I like challenging the norms. I like thinking about what life could be if we said, hey, you know what? That doesn't seem quite right. I think we can do it a little differently. I call it breaking the rules, or you could call it a disturber. And in this case, well, I started thinking about the toys that my children receive. The holidays are coming, and I can already tell we're getting in that festive season because the questions from the family members have started with, what would the girls like this year? And of course, I naturally, like a lot of people, will default to the educational kind of things. I'm like, we do not need more pink plastic from China in this house. And so I like to recommend educational toys, things that build their science, technology, engineering, math, STEM, we all know it and love it, those skills, because we know that those are needed today and definitely in the future because robots are increasingly taking over our lives. And we push them for both boys and girls, but particularly there's an emphasis on that kind of toy for girls because we have noted, and rightly so, that there's less women in STEM type roles or jobs later in life. And yeah, we can do boot camps and special programs when they're older, but why not start early on and build those skills and capabilities when they're kids? So amazing. Let's introduce girls to all things STEM so that they feel comfortable in it when they get older. And the core of this kind of thinking is just coming from gender equality. We think girls, women should have the same access to the types of jobs that men do. Amazing. What about men though? What about boys? What do they need to start playing with at an early age so that we achieve our gender equality? So, spoiler alert, I'm actually going to hopefully, by the end of this video, get you thinking that starting to promote and push and gift dolls to boys is probably more important, no, not probably, is more important than any STEM fanatic toy, initiative for girls that there is out there. We could do all the work we want with giving STEM toys to girls, but it will all be for naught if we do not start giving dolls to boys. And so while I tidy my toy room, because if you're like me and a caregiver, you are multitasking, I'm gonna get you on that thought. So let's dive in. Okay, first, to make sure that we're on the same page, let's set some general concepts. First is kids learn through play. They interact with things and they express their emotions. They learn physical skills, cognitive skills, socio-emotional skills, and it's fantastic. Second, toys are pretty gendered. I pick this up, you know who it's for. It's a girl. I show you this, you're probably gonna say it's a boy's toy. Third point to get on the same page. There is nothing more important that we could do for gender equality than increasing the role that men play in caregiving. There's an exceptional economist who actually won the Nobel Prize this year in 2023 for her work that looked into the women's labor participation over a long period of time. And she consistently found that it wasn't because we lacked mentorship or because we lacked certain skills or leadership or assertiveness or personal branding. No, it wasn't any of that stuff. It was the fact that women had children. And as soon as these women had children, they reduced their labor participation. Funny that is, right? Like, there's many humans that need feeding every day at 5 p.m. It's not like some days they don't need feeding and some days they don't need, books before bed. No. Every day they need these things. So every day you need to be home. And so women couldn't just jump on a plane to Japan for that business meeting, or women couldn't stay a little later for that business dinner or to work on that deadline. No, they had to go home. And that's why there are less of them in the workforce, in senior roles, in full-time jobs, etc. And so it's not that women need a boosting up to become more senior, it's that other things are keeping them from the workplace. So if we want more gender equality in the workplace, well then somebody's gonna have to pick up the slack at home. Hence why men need to be more involved in caregiving. And well, just like we push STEM for young girls so that they are more involved in science and technology related professions later on in life, I think it's really important to push caregiving for boys and developing those skills early on in life. Okay, so how do we build those skills? Like we said, it's through play and it's through toys. So then I asked myself, well, Jess, if you were writing those toy lists, and you know exactly what I mean, those lists of toys where they're like, top 10 toys for boys at age 6 and the 15 best toys for girls at 4 years old.
The Toy Insider revealed their exclusive list to shop today, and this is their Hot 20 list, the STEM 10.
I've got so much here.
We've seen them, we've read them, we've bought from them. If I could write that list for boys, what would I put? All right, well, so here is my feminist guide to the top toys for boys. First is tea set. There is nothing more fundamental in caregiving than thinking about the needs of others and giving to them first. And that's what you establish in a tea party. You sit down, you give them some cake, you pour them some tea, and you talk. Usually these other people are inanimate as my girls sort of sit with 7 other stuffies sitting around them, and they build those social-emotional skills that are so essential for tea parties. And it's interesting because it's my partner who has taught and spent the most time with my girls doing tea parties. And I recognize that it is these skills that he is teaching my girls that he is using to be such an exceptional caregiver. Okay, toy number 2. You gotta do it. Dolls. Like, if you want to learn caregiving, there is no better way than to practice the actual thing. You have to feed them, you have to burp them, change their diaper, put them to sleep, feed them, play with them, make sure they feel loved, take them to bed with you. All the things. My girls will spend hours just doting on these inanimate plastic things and plush things that they think are their babies. And you can already see them mimicking the exact caregiving skills that we use to care for them. Enough said. Boys should play with dolls, not just like one doll, but like literally have a basket full of them. Toy number 3, there are some really great, and unfortunately I don't have one to show you, but there are some really great toys that build emotional communication. There's this one stuffy that you can change its eyes and mouth and what have you to express different emotions. And I think that's fantastic because in caregiving, you need to be able to read other people's emotions and be able to express your own in order to build that healthy trust and in order to just like navigate the inevitable minute by minute ups and downs of these very unstable, sometimes seemingly unstable mini humans. And getting in touch with those emotions are so important at an early age, and there are tons of toys that get them thinking and talking about that. Okay, so the next one, cooking sets. And now I'm not talking about like professional pizzeria, cafe style cooking sets, which is actually often what comes up when you search cooking toys for boys. I'm not talking about the stuff that you do to make money off your skills. We know men can do that. And we know that there are more men in professional chef roles than women. And we know that there are more women than men that take on the household cooking for the family. And it's that work that I'm talking about. It's that unpaid labor that we need boys and then men to be taking on more of. So this is where the cooking sets come in. This is where they play in thinking about what do people like? What do people want to be eating? What's their favorite foods? What do they want at this time of day? Going, preparing it, putting it together, serving it up with love, and seeing the satisfaction of fulfilling the needs of somebody they love. Okay, so final toy suggestion, cleaning. This is the unglamorous, no one likes doing it task of caregiving, which is tidying up, keeping the house orderly. It's the everyday, doesn't change. You do it once, as soon as you move away, you got to do it again kind of job. And we all need to be taking part of it. So what better way to have men learn those roles than practicing and playing when they're younger? Those are my top picks of the toys that I think boys should be playing with when they are younger in order to build the caregiving skills that they'll need as they grow older. And yeah, I go back to what I said at the beginning, which is like, if I could change every single blog post and mummy blog and New York Times, whatever, Good Housekeeping list of the top toys for boys and girls, I would scrape everything on the boys' toy list and put those right at the top. You see, it's not from a place of deficiency that women aren't in senior roles or fully participating in the labor force. No, it's because we're home taking care of kids. And now we have a Nobel Prize winner who has proven that with historical statistical studies. Although if you had asked any woman, she probably could have told you that too. But that's great, because the more proof, the better. But I think we're done proving it. And so instead of, creating more programs for women or more developmental toys for young girls, well, why don't we shift gears and start focusing on the other side and perhaps questioning whether it is men that have the deficiency in caregiving, in doing the unpaid labor that we need in order for women to be more active in the labor force. Food for thought. And so I hope that as I finish organizing of the toy room, that I perhaps have sparked some new thoughts in you. And you, like me, can be a little bit of a rule breaker and challenge some norms, and perhaps show up with one of these guys for a little boy this holiday season. Keep well.